All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm so grateful that you've taken time out of your day to join us and be here today. And my name's Rita Fleming. I'm going to be hosting with my dear friend and sister, Georgiana, and we're going to be sharing some powerful stories today about our own transformation and obstacles and challenges that we've been able to move through in our lives in hopes to provide hope and evidence and inspiration as to what is possible. And we really want this to be a safe space, a safe container for open dialogue where we can each be seen and held and vulnerable and really share what's going on so that we can get to that deeper healing. And this was really meant to be a movement. So welcome to Beauty Within. And I'm going to share a little story of what one of the components that inspired me around beauty within. And this story goes back to when I was 16. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And we were in the high school bathrooms. And I saw her just lifting up her shirt and pinching her belly and grabbing her thighs. And her whole body just collapsed. Like she looked at herself with such rejection. And it broke my heart because this was a dear friend of mine and she was so beautiful inside and out. And I remember thinking, I wish she could see how herself through my eyes. I wish she could see how amazing she is. And when I saw her, I saw this strong athlete, this goddess, who had so much to share with the world. But when she looked at herself, she would get small and shrunken. And, she didn't believe she was good enough. And so beauty within is really a reclamation on so many levels. It's a reclamation of our worth from the inside out. It's a reclamation of our natural born beauty, a beauty that isn't measured against external standards. And the reason for that is nothing and no one outside of you determines your worth, not your success, not all of the accolades and the different awards, not designer clothes, not our weight. None of that stuff can be touched by the beauty and the grace and the strength that lives inside of each and every one of us. So in Beauty Within, that's who we're going to start having a conversation with. It's that part of you that is so radiant that we keep her boxed up because we're afraid if we let her out, the world can't handle her. And so I encourage you today, if you want to have the courage to really face yourself, all of yourself, every nook and cranny with unconditional love, then I open up this conversation today. And I want to bring in my friend Georgiana, who is a soul sister and, has been on a path of her own healing for many years. And then that has led to wanting to support others in their growth. And Georgiana, I'd love to hear a little bit about your story and some of your takeaways, some of your lessons.
Hi, Rita. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm so excited and happy that we're having this open conversation. And the story actually really speaks to a time in my life. The story that you shared about, when I was going through self-doubt and as I felt like I lost confidence in how I looked in my appearance. And I was a time very long ago. It was during this last few years in this world of Zoom calls because I was spending a lot more time in team meetings and I was experiencing actually a lot of stress and personal changes as well. And as I was getting on camera, I noticed I started to be very self-conscious with my appearance and just feeling like, just not even wanting to be on camera. As I was noticing, due to stress, a lot of gray hair and my skin didn't feel right, and some new wrinkles. And so it was really affecting my self-image and how I was feeling about myself. And it got me thinking, I may not be the only one, as we all, have embarked on this like Zoom, world. And indeed, as I looked into it, there is a concept that came with this as well, and an increase in like using of the filters. And that term is actually called Zoom dysmorphia, as I was sharing with you, that I learned about, and where basically people go on a camera and they don't really like how they look. And I certainly could relate to that at that particular time in my life. And yeah, it happens. It can happen to any of us. And yeah, there was even an increase in people reaching out for to have transformations, and even for cosmetic procedures, more than ever, even in that restricted time frame. And what I realized is that there is something about video conferencing that distorts our appearance in ways we might not even realize. And it's like we look in a mirror, but it's like a reverse reflection. And staring at our own face on a screen most of the day can really affect this self-perception and self-image. And that's because we tend to judge ourselves. And that's what I was doing. And I'm curious if anyone else here has noticed or resonated with this, since we're all on the Zoom meetings a lot. And maybe drop a one in the comments if you do. When we see ourselves regularly on a screen or a mirror, and every time we don't like something about how we look, there is a subconscious automatic thought. We actually have a dialogue with ourselves, and we are harshly critiquing ourselves. And that's what I realized that I was doing to myself. And I'm really glad I started to have that awareness and really start working on, improving this self-image from within, basically. And realizing that this was happening almost at the subconscious level. And I didn't know that in that particular time frame, I wasn't able to do the self-care as usual. And I know maybe a lot of us relate with that. Even simple things like, going to a hair salon. And I want to share a detailed, little vulnerable moment that I had because I wasn't able to go to my hairstylist. When I finally had the chance to go, I was so ready for a transformation that I made a really drastic change in my hair, and I highlighted my hair so much that it turned out much lighter than I expected. And I later actually regretted, because I mean, even though on the moment it felt really exciting, and yeah, it's something new we all feel at some point, but it ended up damaging my hair so much, and coupled with some depletion that I was going through at that time, it really made me lose a lot of hair. And it also didn't align with my natural approach to health and beauty. And so it was a lesson I learned, which helped me reflect deeper into the relationship with myself, my values, of just self acceptance, and to really become aware and develop this a more positive self image. And I think this is important, because when we want to have a true transformation, how we think about ourselves, it determines how we feel about ourselves. And that's what I feel is really important, is this feeling that we have from the inside out can also make us feel beautiful. And another thing I realized, that my power and contribution is not in the way that I look, but in the confidence that I need to build to be unapologetically myself, to embrace, aging and gray hair in a graceful and more natural way. So beauty within, for me, I'm really excited about to even have this conversation. It's really about how we feel from the inside out and really cultivating this feeling. And yeah, because I truly believe our real beauty in us women is our inner character, being kind, expressing our truth, who we really are in our heart, you know, because and knowing that we are enough. I've struggled a lot also with being very perfectionistic and feeling like I'm not enough, right? And also, I want to mention also that it's nothing wrong with us women wanting to improve how we look, you know, being more radiant, but to do it in a natural way. And since I had this experiment with a lot of hair loss, I've been focusing a lot on regeneration of my hair. And I'm so glad that I found this solution with the collagen superfoods blend, that it really supported me in my journey. And to know that we have this solution to support our body to produce collagen in a natural way. And yeah, and I love the amazing herbs to support hair growth. And for me, yeah, besides the energy that I noticed from it, it just tastes amazing as well, and it digests really well, which also contributes to beauty. Like when we have a good digestion, for me at least, is very important. And so I'm really excited, you know, to have this conversation, and grateful to be, you know, part of this beautiful community.
Yeah, thank you so much, Georgiana, for co-hosting this. And we were talking about this concept and this idea, and we both just were like so excited about it, because it's an important conversation to have out loud. And I resonate so much with what you've shared in your story. You know, does anyone else put one hand up, two hands up, if you ever judged yourself harshly at a time, or if you too have ever, you know, felt like a perfectionist and, you know, wanting to compare yourself to these almost impossible standards that we have. Yeah. So I'm seeing lots of yeses and ones. And what you mentioned about like the Zoom dysmorphia, I didn't even realize that was a thing until we were talking last night, but it's so true. I remember I went through a phase where I was wanting to share stories and show up daily on Instagram, and I was using a filter. And this was kind of during the height of the pandemic. And so I started to see myself with this as this filtered image, you know, and it started to distort my own perception of myself. And then when I went out into the world and actually started interacting with people again, once things started to open up, I was like, there's no filter here. And
Yeah.
it was so interesting, because it was such, there was, it became like, wow, this is a big difference. And I don't want to feel like I can only show up on Instagram with a filter, you know, like maybe I didn't get any sleep because I was traveling. It's okay. I got a filter. And so I started to challenge myself to not use filters. And at first it was really vulnerable and I didn't even want to because I was so used to it. But I think it's interesting because we can be beautiful and amazing as we are, but then we have this smoothed over image that isn't based in reality, and it can really mess with us. So I started to play with not using filters at all and just showing up as myself, and that was really healing for me. So I love that you brought that into the conversation.
Yeah, I love that too. I think you're very brave not to use filters. I think I mean I've been using them myself as well. I mean, as long as it makes us feel good about ourselves, but at the same time it really creates this mask of, you know, it's not real. So the more I think that we're able to put this down, this mask, and not put our you know, like beauty and worth based on this like external standards and what everyone is doing, and cultivate this strength and beauty more from within based on our on who we really are. and being more real and raw, I think it could be a new revolution, I think.
I love that.
And that I feel this is what this beauty within movement, this is what we women can do. And I'm so glad we're having this open shares. And at the time that I was going through, I was like, all these things were reflections, inner reflections. And I didn't have someone to really share about. It was just like all internal. And I think the more we have these open conversations and realize that we're not alone in how, the experiences that we have, and also to realize how powerful we are as women, just as we are, and to reclaim this together, to be more real, to embody our beauty from within, and also be able to acknowledge other women's beauty and power in collaboration and not in competition. And
Mm.
so, truly, I think this is the um, something, a movement that I'm really proud and happy to be part of. And I'm so excited about the opportunity to also address beauty and health from within as well, because health is the foundation of our beauty. I see health and beauty as synonyms. And to do this together in community, to uplift each other and to be flooding our bodies with also with nutrient dense living foods that naturally support our beauty from the inside out.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think I'm super excited.
Yay, thank you. And I'm going to dive in a little bit more about what the program is with Beauty Within and how we can support that inner radiance. And I want to just share one more story with you all. And I'm checking in the chat. I really love what Jillian is sharing. She's also sharing that evolution, from an evolutionary perspective, we haven't stared at our own faces like we do on social media. And really, we're meant to be in connection and relationship with others. And so, constantly seeing that can also create a distortion, which is a really interesting point. I love that you brought that up, Jillian.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for adding in. And I definitely want to hear everybody's thoughts in the chats, and we'll open it up at the end for some more conversation. And I have one more story that I want to share with you today, that I've never shared before. And, many people know me as an athlete, as an entrepreneur. And I'm really honored and blessed that we've been able to impact thousands of people's lives, thousands of women's lives and families, to create generational health and to create peace and purpose. And that warms my heart. But there was a time when I also forgot my worthiness, when I forgot my gifts and my beauty. And I compared myself to the athlete that I once was. And when I looked in the mirror, I didn't recognize myself. And you know what? I didn't love the woman that I saw in the mirror. I didn't accept her. I judged her harshly compared to who she once was. Because you see, 2011 was a season in my life when I felt broken. I was putting the pieces together after being in a relationship that didn't serve my soul. I had abandoned myself for someone else's happiness, someone else's dreams. And in the process, I became miserable. And on top of that, I was 40 pounds overweight, and I was in chronic pain from a car accident that I'd been in 6 years earlier. And that accident felt like it was yesterday, because I had so much trauma and pain that I carried in my body. And I went from feeling alive to feeling numb inside. And from being one of the fastest girls in the state to walking with a limp. From believing I could do anything and be anyone to struggling to find purpose. And I went to bed at 8 o'clock at night because I couldn't face that pain for one more minute. And I went from lifting people up around me and lighting up the room to swallowing my tears back and hiding. And I felt like I couldn't breathe. And when I looked in the mirror, I saw someone who had lost her dreams. I saw someone who didn't live up to her potential. And I was embarrassed by her because I knew what she was capable of. I knew what she was made of, and I knew her strength. She could turn mud into gold, but somehow I couldn't find that woman anywhere. And Beauty Within is the lifeline that I needed when life became too heavy to hold. And after 3 days of Beauty Within, I felt the lights turn on in my body. And after 90 days, I came home to myself. And it was the first time I'd felt like myself in 15 years. I could finally breathe. And after 3 months, I signed up for my first 5K race, and I got 8th place off the couch, and I felt like I could run all day. And Beauty Within was my second chance at life. It was my second chance at my dreams and at my purpose. So if you're ready to give yourself a second chance, if you're ready to breathe abundance and joy and expansion into your life, and if you're tired of living for yesterday, and if you're ready to live for today, and if you're tired of waiting for permission to play full out and to love yourself unconditionally, then I invite you to join us in this container, in this experience. And what's included in this, you receive recipes. We have a weekly support call and container that is it's an accountability call for our own greatness. So all of our health, all of our success is really just based on really small habits. And so this accountability container, we're going to be uplifting each other and holding each other accountable to small daily, weekly steps that we can take. We're going to be witnessing each other in our transformation. It includes 3 Beauty Within embodiment practices, tips, journal prompts, support from the person that invited you, as well as our community, and includes our transformation program, where you're getting living superfoods that were grown in 96 feet deep of topsoil. They're the top 1% nutrient density and potency and purity foods in the world. And you get it for $6 for a meal, which I don't even think you can get a coffee for $6 today. So even just to save your time, save your energy, and save your money, it's an amazing investment. And then with that, you're getting 2 nutrient-dense shakes a day. So you're flooding your body with these micronutrients. You're flooding your body with these alkaline minerals, and our body thrives when we have that alkalinity. It improves our circulation. It allows us to eliminate waste and inflammation, and really allows us to show up for ourselves and release things that are no longer serving. It comes with our plant-based whole food amino acids, and that's 99.9% bioavailable. That's your protein source. Most of our protein sources are only 11 to 36% bioavailable. So this is going straight in to support your body, support your bone and connective tissue, your structure system. This helped me in my spine so much. Supports that collagen production, the strength, our muscles, to make sure that you're getting everything that you need. It helps you with deep sleep, getting REM sleep. So you're taking our tart cherry juice before you go to bed. You can drink it in a wine glass if you want, but that also just helps us to relax and release our nervous system, release stress out of our body, release inflammation out of our body, so that we can reset and restore and regenerate. And it comes with our gut support, which is our biomedic, and it's the only clinically proven solution to remove glyphosate from our bodies. and reduce C-reactive protein by 74%. So we're repairing those tight junctions. And like Georgiana was saying, gut health impacts everything else. It impacts our mental health. It impacts our mood. It impacts our absorption, our digestion, our skin, our radiance, our mental clarity. So there's so much there. And then we have an amazing herbal formulation blend. It's called Renew Skin and Hair. And that, my hair never used to grow long. Like, this is actually, it's not that long, but it's the longest it's ever been in my life. And it just gives you those rich minerals and nutrients that support your body's own collagen production, support your hair growth, support your nails. And I don't know about any of you, but sometimes it's easy to put ourselves on the back burner or not show up for ourselves or not show up for our self-care just because we get busy or just because we're taking care of others. And so this just makes it a really easy and efficient way to show up for ourselves on a daily basis and make sure we're getting everything we need that is going to help us thrive from the inside out. And when we have that, these are living superfoods, so they're full of energy. And when we get that cellular energy by absorbing them in our body, we suddenly have the energy to release toxins that are no longer serving. We suddenly have the energy to show up for ourselves in the ways we want to, and our dreams in the ways we want to, and our children and our families and our relationships in the ways that we want to. So this is really a gift for ourselves and for each other. And I invite you all to join us in this container. We'd love to support you. It's been such a revolution and transformation for me personally, and for so many others that I've worked with, that this was the missing link for me in my life. So thank you everyone for just tuning in and being here. I'm going to open it up to questions, but if you're wanting to dive into this container with us, just get back to the person that invited you, because they love you, they care about you, they respect you, they want to see you thriving. Even if you're already thriving, just taking it to that next level. So I'm going to open it up for questions and also feedback, conversation, anything that anyone else wants to add into this conversation.